The Attorney General's Office Child Support Division is a state agency that's required to locate absent parents, establish paternity, establish child support orders, modify child support orders, and to collect and disperse child support payments within the state of Texas.
One of our main goals, of course, is to provide consistent child support for children. And we know how important it can be for survivors of domestic violence to have reliable financial support so that they can safely remain away from an abuser.
A lot of folks would absolutely love to have the maximum amount of income that they can have to support their family, but they may not feel safe to pursue child support.
If you are a survivor of domestic violence, it's important to let us know because we can take steps to keep you safe.
Someone who's interested in opening a child support case can apply over the internet or come into our office and ask for an application.
There is a little checkbox on the application when you apply where you can disclose if you are a survivor of domestic violence.
What we'll do is we'll gather all the information we can about a family, including locating the parties, and then we'll start the process. If fatherhood has never been legally established, that's where we'll start.
Paternity establishment is very important because it establishes the legal relationship between the child and the alleged father. And during that process of establishing paternity, it may involve us doing genetic testing to ensure that the alleged father is in fact the biological father of the child. And we will have both parties either come to our office or we can do the genetic testing at different places if necessary. But it's an important step in order to obtain an order for child support.
And then we'll move forward with trying to negotiate an order that addresses medical support, child support, custody, and visitation. We can do that through an in-office negotiation or we can do it through the court process. In cases where we're aware that there's family violence, we will use the court process to obtain the court order.
At the time that we're preparing cases to go to court, we make sure that these cases are segregated in a way so that we can ensure the custodial parent's safety when they come into the courtroom.
We can also ask the court to make a finding of non-disclosure, which will mean that your address will remain confidential and won't be in any papers that could be made accessible to the abuser.
What we do is we take off their address and phone numbers off of any legal papers that can be a public record, whether it's that case or if they have another case, because if they have more than one case, we still mark it as a family violence case too, just to make sure that their information doesn't become public record.
Then the state has to determine conservatorship. And that's our way of determining who has custody of the child and where the child will live. And once that has been determined, then the state will also determine visitation. We establish the child support amount that will be determined to be paid by the non-custodial parent. And in that child support obligation or order, you can also have an order for medical support or cash medical support. Or health insurance. That non-custodial parent can also be required to pay what is called retroactive child support, or as a lot of people call it, back child support.
I'd want victims of family violence to understand and know that the court process can take some time, but they will, if they stick with it and not be too discouraged, it's very likely that they will be able to get an order that protects them, their information, and orders child support for them and for their children.